Hello, everyone. My name is Malaya Brown, and I am the team leader of Act1on Consulting. Today, we will be presenting the strategic analysis of Florida Keys Electric. To begin with our company overview, Florida Keys Electric has established itself as the market leader in their region, with 35 years of industry experience. They provide comprehensive electrical services as a full-service contractor, serving both residential and commercial clients. Our analysis will address several key areas. We'll examine current market challenges, analyze environmental factors affecting the industry, evaluate their competitive position, and identify strategic opportunities for growth. The strategic purpose of our analysis is multifaceted. We aim to thoroughly analyze Florida Keys Electric market position, identify and evaluate growth opportunities, assess the competitive landscape, and develop strategic recommendations that will ensure their continued success and market leadership. Now, the rest of my team will walk you through our detailed findings.
Alrighty, now moving on to key issues, which pertains to three factors, one being environmental considerations, the next, national disaster recovery, and finally, the proximity of competition. Looking at environmental considerations, this has to do with the fact that the Keys has a very vibrant ecosystem that they not only morally but legally should be protecting. And this can be a way of being mindful of regulations regarding pollution, wildlife, marine life, and sensitive habitats. Then moving on to natural disaster recovery, we know here in South Florida and in Florida in general, we are very susceptible to natural disasters like hurricanes. These can be very unexpected and severe, and this greatly impacts electrical infrastructures, which requires companies like FKE to react. And so they need to have a strong plan for recovery, not only to restore their services, but build loyalty within their customers. And then finally, we have the proximity of competition. There's a drivable distance between the Keys, and there's over 10 companies that service the Key West region with very similar services. And because of this, it requires to have products and services that are different that will attract our customers, keep them, and also help with word of mouth marketing. Next, we'll be talking about the general environments and learning more about the six factors.
Today, I'm going to be talking about the general environment. Specifically, I will be doing the PESTEL analysis, where I'll be talking about the political, economic, sociocultural, technological, ecological, and legal aspects for the Florida Keys Electric Company. So starting with the political, for the net metering changes, essentially, the local area is currently managed by the Florida Public Service Commission, which regulates water, electricity, and natural gases to the surrounding Florida Keys area. And the Florida Keys current legislation for the energy industry includes the net metering changes, which were caused by the legislation HB 741, and it reduces the compensation that homeowners would receive when selling excess energy generated by their solar panels. And then for the energy deregulation, there has been an ongoing debate about energy reconstruction, specifically in the Florida Keys, with deregulation from the Florida Public Service Commission. And the service rates would drastically decrease, which would spark further competition within this industry. And the Florida Power and Light has pushed against these changes, and also the Florida Supreme Court is reviewing the issue as well. Now for the economic aspects, Florida Keys Electric has been in the electrical market for 35 years. And is the largest electrical contractor within the Florida Keys, providing electrical, low voltage, and fire alarm services. And the inflation rate has risen to, or has increased by 2.67% in the past year. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics predicts that a 9% job growth rate for electricians and electrical contractors will occur between 2022 and 2032. And then also based on the estimated salary range in the electrical industry, the Florida Keys, or within the Florida Keys, it's between 63,000 to 106,000, and the average salary is about 73,000. And overall, the Florida Keys Electric Company shows remarkable growth in the industry, and it does contribute to Florida's economy significantly. As for the sociocultural aspects, the area in which it is surrounded by is largely environmentally conscious, and it might drive an increased demand for that sustainability and energy solutions. And there's also a diverse mix of permanent residents and seasonal tourists living in the Florida Keys, and all of them have different energy needs and expectations. And there also tends to be a more laid-back lifestyle in the Florida Keys. And the area is also very vulnerable to natural disasters, and it might kind of shape the attitudes towards energy reliability and emergency preparedness. As for the technological aspect, the Florida Keys Electric does incorporate a few innovations within the technology. So they specialize in comprehensive generator services by providing reliable, efficient, top of the line generators. And they implement strong and rigorous safety measures and quality assurance by utilizing their best materials to make sure that they're being safe in regards to the customers, the workers, and the environment. And they also specialize in low voltage and fire alarm system, as I mentioned earlier. And they utilize advanced security systems to ensure full security for their customers. Now for the ecological portion, with their contracting services, they do provide renewable energy solutions, which is a beneficial alternative as opposed to coal or nuclear energy systems. And they also provide lighting control system, which is a good way to reduce environmental impacts along with their surge protection systems, because they do ensure that any devices are being protected from these environmental impacts, which would reduce the need for future repairs. And then they also do engage in horizontal drilling, which is a more sustainable way of drilling than the traditional approach. And now for the legal part, the company it must follow state and federal energy regulations to make sure that it adheres to all standards given the ecosystem of the Florida Keys to protect their coastal habitats. And the company must also maintain proper licensing to make sure that the specific building codes shaped by the region's hurricane-prone nature, and they also ensure data privacy, labor practices, and local zoning laws to make sure that the company is operating in a safe way. And now I'm going to talk about the SWOT analysis. So we've identified the Florida Keys Electric current market position, and I will be talking about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So as for the strengths, they do show a lot of expertise because they have been in the industry for 35 years. So they provide that market leadership and industry experience for their customers. And they also are a full service contractor. So they offer a variety of options such as fire alarms, generators, horizontal drilling, renewable energy, surge protection, and much more. So their customers can have a lot to choose from when choosing a company for their electrical needs. As for their weaknesses, their location does limit them to only serving customers within the Florida Keys. So they have a limited amount of customers that can utilize their service. And then for their opportunities, expansion to other cities in Florida to gain higher market share would allow them to compete on a much larger scale. For example, like the Florida Power and Light. And then also investing in more technology such as AI or installing more renewable energy sources such as solar panels, and gaining more certificates within sustainability. And lastly, as for their threats include large electrical companies such as Florida Power and Light, Another threat would be new rules and regulations that would require changes in their daily operations. And then also operating out of the Florida Keys leaves them vulnerable to natural disasters that can potentially halt operations.
Now to discuss the strategic alternatives Action Consulting has formulated for Florida Keys Electric. Florida Keys Electric has several exciting opportunities to grow and innovate, one being that Florida Keys Electric can expand into renewable energy. By investing in solar power and energy storage solutions, Florida Keys Electric will be able to cater to the growing demand for sustainable and eco-friendly power alternates in the Keys. With the ample sunlight in the local region and the eco-conscious market in the area, this offers Florida Keys Electric a new revenue stream as well as a new customer segment. The second strategic alternative Action Consulting has composed is to diversify into smart technology. By modernizing electrical systems with smart home tools and innovative building solutions, this can help Florida Keys Electric tap into the growing demand for energy efficient automated spaces, as well as appeal to the growing number of eco-conscious, tech-savvy consumers and businesses who want to enhance their property's energy efficiency. As the demand for smart homes and commercial automation grows, providing these types of services will help Florida Keys Electric stay ahead of the competition, as well as position the company as an innovative leader in electric services. Finally, expanding in new geographic and customer segments will grow the company's presence and unlock new markets. As demand for reliable electrical services increases across the globe, the company can leverage its established reputation in the Florida Keys to gain access into new opportunities throughout the state. Market expansion will enable Florida Keys Electric to spread risks across border territories while capitalizing on growing sectors. All in all, these strategic alternatives are expected to position Florida Keys Electric for long-term growth, sustainability, leadership, and in the evolving energy sector. Now to discuss the recommended course of action.
For recommended courses of action for Florida Keys Electric, we're looking at a focus on renewable energy. The steps to get this done would be first acquiring new capital, whether this be in grants or investors such as venture capital firms or angel investors. Step two would be research and test new reliable energy sources such as solar power, battery storage, and other green solutions. Step three would be deem which are viable, and step four would be offer these alternatives to clients. The timeline is around 2 to 4 years, including full research and implementation, and the resource requirements will likely be around $1 million, although it could be a bit higher, it could be a bit lower. For expected outcomes of this will likely create a new customer segment to be hit, causing more business and more profit in the process. This is due to sustainability. Along with this, for performance metrics, reliability, as well as brand image, customer satisfaction, and revenue will likely all increase. The second course of action would be investing in technological innovation. The first step would be determining which innovations the company wants to invest in. The second would be training employees in whichever segment is decided. And then step three is advertise these innovations to gain a competitive edge over narrow competition. The timeline is pretty scaled out, but it's about 1 to 3 years. And resource requirements are around estimated at 10,000 to 500,000, although it depends on which technological innovation is chosen and the scale of that. Expected outcomes, these could easily ramp up business and profitability through new offers, and the company can gain a competitive edge. And for performance metrics, we think that customer retention, recommendations, as well as profitability will likely all see a significant increase simply due to the ease of usage of FKE's offerings as well as a distinct competitive advantage. The last course of action that we recommend is expanding into new geographics and customer segments. So the first step would be to research the market. The second step would be to research competition. Step three would be determine the market, make a distinct plan on how to achieve market share, and then finally implement that plan and achieve said market share. The timeline, this is a bit strenuous, it's a bit longer compared to the other options. It's the most strenuous, as mentioned, so the timeline's about 3 to 5 years, but it could take longer depending on scale, depending on area, etc. Resource requirements, we think it'll be about 1 million plus, and depending on specific location and skill of shift. Expected outcomes, it really could be a paradigm shift for the business, for the firm. This could make or break the company depending on current profitability margins. So obviously in that similar, just make sure if necessary that they acquire new capital and plan out thoroughly. And then for performance metrics, if done correctly, we believe that the customer base as well as profitability will see a significant upshift.
As we conclude our analysis, our findings indicate that Florida Keys Electric is strategically positioned to maintain and strengthen its market leadership through key initiatives in renewable energy, enhanced emergency response capabilities, and improved customer relationship management. Looking at their competitive advantages, Florida Keys Electric market leadership is built on 35 years of expertise, comprehensive service offerings, and deep understanding of the unique Florida Keys market environment. This foundation supports their revenue generation through diverse streams across residential, commercial, and specialized services, including electrical construction, maintenance, and emergency response capabilities. For growth and expansion, we've identified strategic opportunities in renewable energy solutions, emergency response enhancement, and technological innovation that will help maintain their market leadership position. Our implementation timeline outlines a strategic rollout over 2025. Q1 will focus on technology integration, Q2 will emphasize staff training, Q3 will see the market launch of new initiatives, and Q4 will achieve full implementation of our recommendations. With these strategic initiatives in place, Florida Keys is well positioned to maintain their market leadership while adapting to evolving industry demands and customer needs. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation.